Oh yeah, we're doing this. We're bringing Showcase back, baby, with a record-breaking number of leaks this week, with the director of leak, the leak master, Von Leakman, vice president of leaks, galactic emperor of leaks, senator of leaks. He's here, and he's traveling internationally, dialing in. You're going to only hear him on this episode. Grant Warwick, co-founder of Illuvium's on the call. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Where are these names coming from?
I don't know. They told me in chat they liked it when you called when I called you Leak Master. I don't know. Look, I'm just pleasing the audience. Out? Yeah.
This show is technically unfinished business from last week, yeah?
It is. This is unfinished business. This is part 2 of a 2-part series of infinity leaks that you dropped on me. Here's what everybody has in store. We're going to check out some IlluviTars, emojis, Illuvials, merchandise, overworld. There's no rocks. I should have taken that off. And of course, there's going to be some memes from Von Leakman, our co-founder himself. He shared this one with me. Wishing for a bull market. That leads us to our disclaimer. Nothing Grant and I say is life advice, legal advice, financial advice. There's no sort of advice, my friends. So all of you out there, be smart, be safe on the internet, and just realize we're just telling you about an exciting project that we're both working on, and we're going to get into fantastic updates and leaks. Grant, you ready to do this, buddy?
Is subscribe to our YouTube channel advice?
Yes, it is. That is some advice we will give everyone today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We never do that.
We never do that. No, I used to coach creators.
Cool people who never.
Yeah. I used to coach creators, and I told them don't tell people to subscribe because the YouTube algorithm detects what you say and actually punishes content that tells you to subscribe and like. Believe it or not,
really?
Directly from the YouTube executives. Yeah. It's wasteful. Anyway, maybe it's not like that anymore. Let's get into the leaks, my friends. We're gonna do videos first, then images. So easy. Are you ready for this? A little bit of a leak happened on social media, and we talked about it last week, Grant. What are we looking at here?
Oh, it's a shame, right? Because the internet here wasn't good enough to share with you the updated versions of this stuff. But I did, if you go, like right now, if you're watching the stream and you want to see more of the sliding mechanic we've got implemented, you can check it out on the website, on the Discord.
Awesome. Okay, well, and we'll share that in a future episode for those of you that don't know what he's talking about. But last week we were going through Brightland Steps, and you were describing how when you're going down these giant, just unimaginably large hills, you don't want to just have to run down the hill.
Yeah, exactly.
You were going to kind of be able to snowboard almost, or energy board down the hill, which is super, super cool.
Yeah, so these are the things that are happening right now. We're doing sliding first, then we'll do the gliding mechanic, and then we'll do the grappling hook. The grappling hook won't make it into PB2, but we've prioritized the sliding and the gliding. And this is just an animation prototype, but like now there's actually a playable version of this in the game. And it's interesting, right? When we were preparing the overworld PB1, there was a level of polish required because we needed people to jump in and not feel like they were playing some hacked together prototype game, if that makes sense. Like polish the stuff we had instead of trying to cram everything in and it just all looked crap. Whereas we've changed our mindset internally now, because the goal was obviously to impress people with that first beta, and now we've swapped to we need all of the mechanics in for the next beta that are functional to the game. And so they're just raw prototypes, but so they won't be as polished. Maybe sound, maybe VFX doesn't work, but as long as people understand that we're in beta, these are the things that we need to do. So it's just cool now because we're rapidly increasing the pace at which we prototype stuff, because we don't care anymore about the player reaction to how visually AAA and impressive it is.
Got it. That makes sense. And I'm showing some still images of the, prototypes of the trailing effects that can happen behind the energy board. As you all can see, there are different possible varieties here. which can obviously maybe, you know, add opportunities for customization and things like that in the future. Is that a part of the discussion right now, is customizable energy boards and trails, or are we looking to just do one really good one?
So we actually had a really interesting call yesterday with all of the leads on the team about the skins and the suit lines that we're working on. So everything we've shared, right, is basically a work in progress, and people have seen things change quite a lot. Now, we've got every suit having 3 stages in the game and different lines as well that give you different stats. And we're going to distinguish those by cleverly altering the way the skins work in the game so that we only have to texture the skins once. So if you have a different line, for example, maybe the VFX changes instead of having to re-texture the skin. So we will differentiate between sliding with VFX, because that will, like when you slide, that will indicate what line of suit you have, right? Because there are different lines and different stages. But the issue is we only have so many texture artists on the team. So if we need to distinguish the suits with straight texturing work, imagine 185 suit textures, and then you got to redo that 5 times for the different lines. So that's why we're heavily focusing on VFX to distinguish. I end up thinking that looks cooler in a way, because to do 5 different VFX is far easier than to do 185 different suit textures. And you just end up with more visually impressive stuff when gliding. You know, if you have a more defensive suit, the gliding and the sliding and your attacks when you do weapon attacks will be different versus if you had a faster suit, right, that made you attack faster in the game. So that's the general gist of where we're going with things.
Love it. Thank you for that update.
I'll update you on that next week, because we're currently concepting out what those updated skins look like in game.
Got it. Okay, so now we're showing, it looks like it's raining in the middle of this battle board. What is happening here?
Yeah, this is what I shared on Leaks. People kind of freaked out at the quality. It's not the highest quality video share, but Peter was working on the Tic Tac Stage 3 lines Ultimate VFX.
Wow.
And it's just a prototype at the moment, right? Like, sorry, not a prototype, but you can see the Tic Tac in the middle of the board intersecting other characters. It's just because he's recording just to see how it affects a battle happening before hooking it up in the actual game itself. And the detail, like the actual rainbow that pops up and everything, is just crazy.
Yeah, we've got a video of the rainbow here, actually. So this is a part of the detail of that. I guess it's an Omega ability. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, yeah.
Then the water splashes all over the battle board in that Omega ability. And then a rainbow appears up top. That touch right there is fantastic. I love the personality it gives this ability.
The Tic Tac line is unique in that he doesn't actually do anything on the board until he casts his Omega. So when you play Tic Tac, strategically, you have to figure out a way to make that work for your team, because he's not doing passive damage while sitting there. The whole idea is that, like, he kind of looks depressed. It looks like no one likes him. He looks like he's been bullied, basically. Like, that's the expression on the face. But when you piss him off enough, he explodes and then has a massive impact on the game. So pretty cool.
Very cool. Lots of additional strategic possibilities in the auto battler. Let's check out some squids. Y'all like squids? We got squids.
This is just showing you all of the unique individual animations to bring a character to life in the auto battler. So once again, imagine taking 185 different characters and needing to create this many animations for them. And then for us to be able to achieve that with like an animation team of 3 to 4 people in the time we have is crazy, because each one of these animations has to be the same quality.
Got it. Wow, that's really, really interesting. Check this one out. Cool. One of my favorite leaks of the episode. Whoa, sorry if you have a high-pitched screeches in your ears. Atlas S1 NFT. Is this the finished version, or do we have more work to do, buddy?
It's actually not. It was updated this week with a new jiggle sim.
You are psychotic. Like, seriously, you're just whipping these people to make perfect things even more perfect.
Don't say that, because Maria and Yannick have, unfortunately, copped it really hard to be able to, and Julian as well. So Julian is one of the modelers on our team who is doing these jiggle sims and stuff like that in the sculpting phase, and we've had to send stuff back at times, and if something goes back after that work has been done, like we retweak the animation or something, he has to redo that. And we're currently, you know, as you've seen Dimitri sharing on his Twitter, and myself blasting through the final NFT work for open beta, right? Like we've said we'll get all of the animated characters done for open beta, but there may still be like passive effects and stuff like that done. But things like the jiggle figure physics kind of have to go in now.
Understood. I'm just hassling you, man. The dedication to perfection is why people follow this project. So we have a signature animation from Atlas. Notice how he kind of gets dropped here, almost like he's being scruffed on the neck, and then boop, gets dropped down there. I love the personality here.
I'm trying to remember on the last showcase, did I explain? I think I did, right? How this animation will loop. See how at the end of the animation here, when he drops in, it goes to the idol?
Yes.
He drops in, does his little attack, and then there he's in his idol now. That is what we will render out on from V-Ray. Sorry, that's what we'll render out from V-Ray, and then when you capture a character in the overworld, you will see that really high quality NFT look and feel. But with this animation happening, it goes from falling and then he just starts looping. But you do get that initial fall, so it's not like he's just always there, right, when you capture him. Like
Understood. Yep, he falls, and then he idles, and it wouldn't be a weird loop like this. I totally get it. It's a seamless sort of experience. Here is a stage 3. Somebody said a moment ago in chat, no one is going to evolve Atlas because Atlas is so cute. Well, I don't know. What if you get this, man? I think you are.
Well, last week we had NFTs that didn't have audio in them, and now we're seeing with the passive audio. Am I hearing just background music from your
I can turn the
production?
background music down so it doesn't interrupt. Yeah, there is some atmospheric sound in this particular video clip. You hear it?
Yeah, it's very subtle. It's hard for me with these earphones to hear it, but obviously I spoke about the NFTs needing music and audio, and now they're coming to life, right? Like you add these details, he feels there.
Yes, it feels ominous with the ominous atmospherics. There's some low bass I'm hearing in my headphones here. It makes it feel like you're looking at some Indominus Rex style specimen. And the way those claws poke out, it's very ominous. It really is. Really cool. I love this. So how close is this to finished?
Very, very close. 99%.
Very close.
Yeah.
It's like from Jurassic Park. Yep, everybody in chat is feeling it right now. Grown to love Axodon, indeed. Now, you were speaking about an idle animation a moment ago. Here's an elk stage 2 idle NFT animation.
With alternate music, right?
I see, and that adds extra flavor to the NFT.
The audio for me is fine. I can hear you, but it's a little bit patchy, so... I can imagine, like, if it's all good for the stream, then...
Yeah, everybody can confirm in chat if you can hear the audio from... You should be hearing animal-like sounds as well as some atmospheric sounds.
I think it's just the dodgy Wi-Fi, so... But I mean, as you can see, they're coming to life now. These are our Pokemon-style cards now, and it's just taken everything to, multi-dimensional.
Dimitri confirmed in chat, music so good, I can hear it. They have a mystic feel to the elk line. Yep, indeed. Oh, it's very cool.
So
I mean, this is what a card is now, guys. This is the future. People wonder where video games are going and entertainment's going. This is where it's going. Like, this is the way a card looks now. You don't just have an image. You don't just have a cartoony drawing, or you don't just have something with some particle effects popping off of it. You have a full-blown, just audio-visual creation now. So excellent. Komodo Dragon art, stage 1. Now, this one was sneak previewed last week and also leaked on Twitter. Good response from everybody. People liking that tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone's saying he's either the most cute or the second most cute to Atlas in the game. I don't know. Atlas has got that kind of like the OG vibes.
Yeah.
And then it's like this guy. What's that? I'm trying to remember. There's like a movie where there's like a really popular like young, it's almost like Toy Story, I guess, you know? Like this is Buzz and Atlas is Woody, and he's just coming in to steal the show.
Yeah, you're talking about the new toy entering the
exactly.
Arena. Yeah, it was Buzz Lightyear coming in after Woody had reigned for so long. Perhaps Komodo Dragon Line's going to take over, and I mean, this is a face that I think your mother, your father, and all your friends can love. Look at that face. This is the stage 2 NFT art. So cool, so much personality, and everybody can tell this is obviously not complete, but it just continues to progress and become even more impressive.
Yeah, anytime you see stuff that doesn't look rendered at all, like it just kind of looks even worse than a game, you're seeing animation previews from the animation team.
Very cool. And we have a Beetle stage 1 fainting.
Yeah, he's the new sound.
Just taking that face plant right there.
It's funny, right? Like you look at Scarabok, and it doesn't seem that cute. Like it's cute, but not that cute. You add the audio in, all of a sudden it becomes super cute.
Oh, it is so cute. Oh, I'm gonna show them the new stage 3 new animation. Oh shoot, I don't know if I have that one, Dimitri. I'm gonna go through everything I do have though. And we have a stage 2 Beetle taunt to show everybody. I feel sufficiently taunted. Yeah. Now here's something truly terrifying. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Here's Terror Bird. Look at those attacks and the audio. I'm gonna crank up the audio for you guys to listen to.
Work in progress texture as well.
So good.
So clean.
Yes, it's so clean. I love the little purple kind of anime attack marks when the claws are connecting. Oh, so good. And check this out. We've got a Terror Bird S2 Omega.
Gotta love our sound team.
Yeah, our sound team is next level.
Like, people kind of... I don't think anyone realizes yet just how crazy things are going to get when player versus player comes out with every character in the game. So many different possibilities with these new types of characters coming in.
Indeed, our sound team is... I hope we win a couple awards. The sound team deserves some love.
Yeah,
the love they give the marketing team as well on all the videos, just to bring those to life. I have to provide no direction to these guys other than like make, you know, like a couple words here and there, and they just make it sound awesome. So much talent on the team. We've got a Pango stage 2. What's that?
Very few people understand just how little direction the leads on our team need. You know, like some people might think that my job is really, really full on, and if you don't know anything about games, like who is making sure that all these people have a lot of stuff to do and make sure it's being done right. I don't have to do that. Like, I'm proud to say that. And obviously there is some stuff you constantly need to keep your eye on. But when it comes down to details in the game, our leads are so adept at this point that they're like art directors themselves. So it's amazing to be able to just churn through this stuff, like you said, without having to give team members hand-holding or direction. which is funny because we said at the very start of the project on some of the earlier showcases, that's what we look for. You know, we don't want to hold anyone's hand, and even with outsourcing and stuff like that. So
I agree, and that's the only way to pull this off remotely with all these people around the world, and we're all working on different time blocks. The job just needs to get done and handed off to the next person to move it down the line, and we don't have time to have stand-up meetings in an office and all of that stuff. We got to just get the job done and have it be great. Let me ask you about these Driftwood Plants. Are these a new plants we haven't shown before, or is this just showing some good old-fashioned plant physics when you run over stuff?
Yeah, so Greta has been working with Gezu, who initially came up with the concept for the plant physics interaction. And the plant physics in our game are proprietary, right? No one else has what we have. It's custom from Gezu, utilizing Houdini and Unreal Engine, and a custom LOD and optimization method, because not only do the plants need to interact like they're physics objects, they also need to have the passive wind system in our game hooked up as well. So you can't just walk up to a plant and then all of a sudden it's swapped. You can't have every single asset in the game be a physics asset that can be interacted with, because it doesn't run on lower end systems. So you have to swap out the physics asset as you get close to it. And we have a system that was, you know, I remember telling Gezu about what the requirements were, and he goes, "It's doable, but we're going to need some time." And I'm thinking, like, holy shit, like, are we going to, like, is this going to take 6 months? And then 2 weeks later, he's like, okay, I did it. And it's
That's
like,
so cool.
Now Greta is implementing that system on all of the plants in the game. So every single plant in our game, when you run through it, when you fire at it, it has a physics interaction while simultaneously having a passive wind animation hooked up to our wind system. And
wow, that's so cool. And I love what you're saying. And so the idea is to be able to pull this off with minimal impact on system performance.
Yep. Look at the wind in that background palm there, right? I believe she'll run onto it eventually. Not all of these have passive wind attached, but like some of these plants have passive wind, and that's on a slider, right? Like in our game, we have a interactive wind system where if you're jumping in the air and using the gliding system, the wind can affect your ability to fly through it. And so you want the plants to react to that as well. If you're flying and there's really strong wind and sound VFX, you don't just want the plants sitting there idling, because then you don't have that continuity. So by being able to seamlessly morph between a physics asset that has the exact same vertex wind animation on it and the static idling wind version of the plant without there being any clipping or juddering or loading times is just genius work by Gezu. He doesn't get the credit he deserves on this project as much as I try to give it to him.
Well, we're giving him credit right now, and these are the details that are going into making this game truly AAA. Love it. I do not understand. Is this a failed harvest here? Like, why did this explode? And that magma look hot.
I think it's updated sound, because the after the movement mechanic prototypes are going in, we're going to be working on the plant. Sorry, the plant attacking prototypes, and some of this stuff will change, right? So the harvestables will obviously become plants that you need to defeat. And, you know, I'm looking forward to showing that in probably a few episodes down the line.
Wow, that'll be really exciting to show that. Do we want to show the Hollow and Dark Hollow leak here, or are we ready to show that off? You want to show it?
Yeah, I think this will be the best leak of the episode, because we're not showing it on the NFTs.
Okay, we're not showing it on the NFTs. I just wanted to make sure you wanted to show this, because when I saw it, I nearly pooped my pants. So here it is. This is probably the best leak of the episode. The video is not ultra high quality, but Grant, help us understand what we're looking at here.
What do Dark Hollow and Hollow look like in the game? If you have a Hollow NFT versus a Dark Hollow NFT, how do we display that in game on the board? Now, there are things to take into consideration here. You can't have the character always hollow and dark hollow, because legibility in an auto battler has to take precedence over things that look cool. As in, if everyone on the enemy team has a dark hollow character and you can't see the initial texture of those characters, you may perceive this as a stage 3 versus a stage 1 monkey, or any of the characters wrong. And that could end up making you make wrong decisions from a strategic point of view in the auto battler. So we have done it on this cyclical fade in, fade out, Mystique style X-Man look and feel. And the work Sumo has done on this is ridiculous. He did a first pass on it, and basically Dimitri and I just said, like, go way crazier. And I think it's turned out basically close to flawless, right? We may make some tweaks to the speed and the color range, depending on, you know, how it looks when we actually run sims in the game. But I would be super proud to have either of these be displayed when you compare them to the actual NFTs we'll be creating.
Yeah, Fubar was saying in chat, because a lot of people have seen the Dark Hollow kind of old school NFT leaks on our YouTube channel and the giveaways that were done in the past. They didn't know that they were playable in the game. They didn't know you'd actually be able to play that. They just thought it was a cool NFT. That look is in the game, guys.
And from a lore perspective, when the characters are in the shard, right, before they have been played by Mozart, they're always hollow, because they're basically, let's just say, in a different dimension, right? And until they are nanized out onto the board, that's when they oscillate. So there's lore continuity there. People are wondering, why do they not look like the initial characters on the NFT and are always hollow versus not hollow in the game? So that's one way to pseudo-scientifically explain that nonsense away.
Scoriox has a interesting question. Would we be able to toggle hollow versus non-hollow, dark hollow in the game based on what we want them to display as? Or is that just kind of baked into the NFT? Is that the plan? It's just baked into it and that it is what it is?
That's, you want to get hollow and dark hollow for the characters, that's what you get. Why would you not want to display it like this?
Who knows? It was just a question. I'm just curious to know. It's not, this isn't just a skin, if you will. This is what it fundamentally is. It is a dark hollow NFT, and it isn't going to change from that.
It's like buying a Pokemon base set holographic Charizard and then like painting over the hollow part with an orange texture.
That would be so sad. It makes no sense. Okay, I just wanted to bring up that question. Last episode, we showed bubbles, and I said, wait until next episode. I've got a couple of bubbles we can show here. What the hell are these bubbles, man?
Right, once again, go into the Character Leaks channel, or the Leaks channel in Discord, and you'll see an updated version of this that Yezu and Kostya are working on. These are passive VFX from Laura, one of the VFX artists on our team. Because in the Brightland Steppes region, there are plants that are generating bubbles that allow you to float to the top of the level. Now, these are not those bubbles. These are just passive bubbles that are around those plants, because as the plants spawn big bubbles and they pop, there's always smaller bubbles. But if you check the Leaks channel, because I wasn't able to update Andrew with the, those higher res videos, you'll see that we've actually got playable in-game bubbles that you can jump into, and we're rushing to get that as polished as possible for PB2 without going AAA on it, just trying to get it in the game playable so that it doesn't look stupid. And they've done an amazing job. It completely changes this level. What you're seeing here is obviously not how the final level looks. It's just literally for Laura to preview the VFX. And next week's showcase, we will show you the locked off Brightland Steppes region that will be played in PB2 from an art perspective, right? It won't be finished, but it'll be what people can expect to play. So we don't, they don't get false expectations of what to expect in this PB2, because once again, as a team, we've had to pivot from saying let's make everything that's in look AAA to let's just get everything that makes Illuvium in the game, and then worry about polishing it for open beta.
Got it. We just crapped on Scoriox because I misunderstood his question. His question was the opposite of what I said to you. His question was, can we toggle in settings to only display all the time Dark Hollow, so we never see anything but Dark Hollow if it is a Dark Hollow? That's what he was asking. He said, how do I get more Dark Hollow, not less?
Okay, that is an interesting question, and actually, internally, I originally had it like that, and then it was Aaron who came and said, no, we can't, because of the reason I just explained. It has to be legible to the player, but I think that's a great idea, and now I don't think Scoriox isn't making sense anymore.
Scoriox has been redeemed. Sorry about that, Scoriox. So you just saw beautiful bubbles a moment ago. Here are some stinky ones in a swampy scenario. Is this Abyssal Basin?
Yes, it is. More passive VFX from Laura. Now, we got some really cool stuff on the next showcase. I've shared, like, if you, once again, you check the leaks channel, there are some leaks I've been sharing that the team is working on, and like what you're seeing here, anytime you see stuff, the VFX team, they're not running necessarily the same production environment. They may have test levels that are outdated and things like that in their local folders. So you'll notice that the bubbles don't have like high quality shaders on them and stuff, but near the edges of the water, we're indicating, areas that are shallower using these bubbles. And I mean, it looks amazing. We've got fully interactive reed systems. Like as you run through the shallow water, the reeds are like waving and reacting underneath you. Also another indicator of where you can run in the Abyssal Basin region, because it's not the same as Crimson Waste, where if you go into knee-deep water, you die, right? In Abyssal, you only die when you get to an area that's deep enough in which you could drown, basically, which means you can traverse more through the shoreline. And because that's going to be basically a way that we path the level, right? Like it's very dark and moody. So how do I get from one place to the next without getting lost? Well, you just run through the shoreline, and we want to indicate some really cool VFX and stuff like that happening as the player is traversing.
Got to have as much variety there as possible and make it as immersive as possible, because people are going to be doing run after run after run in these regions. So the details matter when you experience it 50, 100, 200 times. Interactive plants. We showed these interactive plants earlier. We can skip that one. I went out of order there. We've got Lynx stage 1. This is an idle, and this is obviously not complete, but this is just taking a look at some groom work that was done.
Yeah, this is Play Blast from Maria, showcasing the updated high-res verse system for Lynx stage 1.
Awesome. And we've got Lynx Earth Bulwark stage 3 idle. Look at that face, man. Look at the intensity of the character design. So cool.
Some of the Lynx characters, we can reuse the hair from previous versions, but others, they have a completely different groom because of the things like the nature affinity details and models on the character. You need to go back and re-simulate the fur, sculpt the fur, and groom the fur. So it's pretty cool.
It is. And we've got mammoths here. This little baby stage 1 mammoth is resisting you. Look at this.
To resist.
Like the emotion in the eyes, as its eyes kind of roll back in the back of its head as it's resisting. That little detail there makes this feel real to me. The team is... they're doing killer work here with these animations. You can tell so much of a story with a character just through movements and animations. So much personality. I love it. And we've got Monkey Empath Stage 2 Omega. Let me turn this music down so you can watch this one play out.
Very cool.
Yeah, the audio sounds great on this. God, the characters look fantastical in this game, but the audio is also fantastical and is also unexpected. And the audio almost catches me off guard more than the freaky looking Illuvials and their kind of unexpected design.
And you can see he's buffing Scoriox and debuffing the elk characters.
Back. Sorry about that. I'll go back. I see. He's buffing his ally and debuffing the enemies. Very good.
Yes. Yep.
Very cool. And we've got stage 3 monkey empath, and this is him resisting. That tail is waving around a lot. Yeah. Let me do the audio for you. That is a very wavy tail, but it's, at a glance, it's obvious what's happening here. They do not want this to happen. And they're resisting capture, correct?
Yes, yeah, this is when you go to capture the character, which is the holy shit moment when we've got a live game on our hands here, and, this is where you actually find out if you get an NFT or not. I really think as we get closer to a Web3 version of Illuvium happening, people are going to start freaking out, because by that stage, as the back-end blockchain stuff is being finished up and implemented, we're going to have prototypes shared with you on Showcase of like, now it's an NFT, and we're not ready yet, but like, I'm in Illuvium, I just bought this character, and now in my connected wallet, I have that NFT.
Very cool. Holy moly. I mean, as that experience between wallet and in-game, what you own and what you can see in your wallet becomes closer and closer and more seamless, I think it's going to make games like Illuvium even more real. I know you've probably seen the headlines about ledger stacks and things where you can kind of see at a glance like what's in your crypto wallet on like a screen. The more that those two experiences, the ownership experience and then what you're actually doing in games, comes closer and closer together, the more I think this whole Web3 idea we all have in our heads and we're trying to build actually starts to play out in a meaningful way.
And remember, the goal for us is to make this invisible to the user up to a point, right? You should be able to download Illuvium, play the game, and the account that you have created automatically links that wallet. And at a later point, if you want to go access those NFTs, start trading those NFTs on the open market, say you want to take it off OpenSea or whatever, it's at that point that you'd start interacting with what Web3 is. But up front to the player, all they see is a character in their inventory. They don't know that it's an NFT that can be traded until they dive into the Illuvidex. So for onboarding mainstream gamers, they're not confronted with, here's Web3, here's crypto. Like,
yeah, of course.
Deal with it.
They just want to play a game. They want to collect cool stuff. And then, well, hold on a second. I can actually own this. That can become a cool realization later after they've already played the game. Yep.
Yeah,
you could sell it. You could trade it. Yeah. I could keep it forever. I could give it to my grandchildren. Like, you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, all these new options are open. That's a realization later, though. And we're not focusing on obviously the marketing, that ownership aspect of Illuvium. That's not the hook.
But the hook has to be the game is good, because if you've just got a bunch of random assets in a game that are essentially meaningless to you, why do you even care to go beyond that point? I love this resist.
Yeah, so this might be the second best leak of the episode. If the Dark Hollow was the best, this is the second best. Look at this resist animation, guys.
I gotta take credit for this one, because Lakshmi did a version where he was like, squealing and trying to resist, and I was like, what happens if he used his tongue to stick and then to see it? This is just, because Totopi's I think my top 3 favorite character, so I was like, he's gotta be popping off here.
Oh my god, I love it. Let us know what you think of this one in chat, but this one has some of the most personality of any animation we've created and shown on the show. I love it. Now, that was Snail Stage 1. This is Snail Stage 2. Like a face only your mother could love. Look at this. Just the snail personality. I feel like you just pop the lid on this and just let it go everywhere. Like there's no holding back with the snails.
I want to go like Looney Tunes on this. Now that I'm seeing this, like with fresh eyes, jet lagged eyes, I want his tongue to be like, you know, like slurping back and forwards more. Like, I love his eyes.
I agree. The eyes, there's a lot of personality there in the eyes, and I agree. You could go. I love what you're saying with Looney Tunes. I almost hear like a good and like almost steam is shooting out of his head type of moment. Like, we just go all the way. And look, we have Snail Resist Stage 3 here as well. This one kind of almost gets there. You see, with the shaking body and then the wiggling tentacles, it's almost there. It's almost there. Love it. Just the animations with the snail are phenomenal. Like the Omega ability when the shell is kind of spinning in all directions with energy powering up and then it blasts a bombardment of ballistic missiles on the enemy team. So unexpected. Everything about the snail line is totally unexpected. And I think people are going to go, what the F? when they see this in the game. And that's going to be a cool moment to catch people off guard.
The variation between the characters, just mind-boggling.
Indeed.
It's like every month that goes by, we're like the people in our community get more familiar with these characters, and it starts to sink in that they are memorable, and that's what when Pokemon first came out, you didn't know that you were going to be thinking of Pikachu 20 years in the future. So I hope we can make that happen with Illuvium. Just continually reinforce the character traits and personalities through things like promo videos, scenes that we work on showing battles happening, lore leaks, cinematics.
Agreed. It's all world building and lore. I mean, we're already an award-winning game in terms of lore.
Yeah.
Just take it to the next level, Grant.
Times.
All right, so we have not shown this Illuvial I'm putting on the screen before on the show. Is this a premiere of showing animations and combat of this Illuvial? Tenrek?
Tenrek, stage 1. He's the smallest character in the game. There you go.
I'm gonna crank up the audio so you guys can hear that. I turn down this music so you can hear the in-game audio. So this is stage 1 Tenrek. Showcase VFX exclusive here, guys. This is VFX work.
So no hair cards on this character at this stage. So he does look better at the moment in the updated form.
Got it. And then there's a roll with a kind of explosive, what looks like an area of effect move there at the end. Is that an Omega, I assume?
He's unique in that his passive attack is a distance-based attack, but then his ult is on the character. Whereas another character will be doing the shoe bill, right? When it does its ult, it doesn't move to the character, right? It's like buffing characters near it, whereas this guy is attacking characters where he's targeting.
Understood.
Stage 2, yeah.
I like the roll and then the final moment there at the end of the roll. Very cool.
Something seems a little bit off in the VFX. I'm looking at some of this stuff with fresh eyes because I shared these leaks with you 2.5, 3 weeks ago. So, I'm always trying to find ways in which we can improve this. But basically, when that VFX hits the character, what I would look for is more directional VFX going in the direction in which he's attacking. It kind of explodes and then just all the momentum stops with the VFX. I'd like that to continue through the character.
Understood. There's just a general kind of explosion outward from the model.
Yeah.
But his arms are actually going up, which you would feel that some of the movement of the VFX should go with the claws.
Yeah. The rolling, if you watch it again, the rolling yellow VFX should continue rolling through the character instead of stopping in front.
I see. Yeah,
Bang,
I see
it just
what you
stops, instead of rolling through.
New favorite Illuvial here, says Stinky Feet in chat. Awesome. They're calling it the Sonic the
More
Hedgehog.
scary.
Sonic the Hedgehog. This is like Sonic the Hedgehog, but nightmare fuel Sonic the Hedgehog.
I play this game with my nephew and niece when I show them Illuvials. Like the game's called Scary or Cute, and they have to tell me if an Illuvial is scary or cute. And I'm cycling through just like showcase content, basically. And they'll see Atlas, and they'll be like, cute. And then this guy, they go, scary. They go.
My kids though, they cannot stop thinking about. My daughter cannot stop talking about and thinking about Atlas, and my son cannot stop thinking about Ramfire. Like, those characters are very sticky. They always ask about it. That's like what they know of when they think, "What do you do for a living?" They're like, "You do, you like are making." Should they think I'm making the Atlas video game or the Ramfire video game? It's just amazing how quickly characters can latch on. They've never played the game. They've just seen me show them a few videos on my computer. It's so interesting to watch that connection be built. The connection that you and I have, and a lot of our audience has to IP like Pokemon.
It's very difficult to tap into what those feelings were as a kid. So talking to kids, even though we're not targeting young kids because it's a much more complex strategic game, really does give you an insight into the type of things that are memorable for kids. Like I can see a character that we put so much work into, and they're like, just because of that child bias, like it just doesn't look as cool or isn't cute. And I think we kind of got to have some of that in the game. You've got to have some Dittos and Diglets and stuff that are less memorable, but it is cool to see kids' opinions.
It is. Definitely not targeting children with this game. All right, so I have a number of clips here. Help me understand the context on these. These are all quite similar. Is this Pangolin?
Yes. No, not Pangolin, Penguin.
Oh, Penguin. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so
he
these
goes,
are...
The reference, maybe the chat can figure out what reference we're using for the Penguin line here for his alt. Surely someone's got to get it.
They will. They're behind a little bit in terms of chat.
What does it look like?
What does it look like to you? All right, and we've got 6 different animations that we're going to be showing here. Different angles and what have you.
It's a shame there's no sound because that makes it even more obvious.
Right.
But there is now for next week's showcase.
They think, okay, guesses are it's a samurai reference.
No.
Another guess is it's a Jason Bourne Illuvial.
No. The VFX. What does the VFX resemble?
Captain Black John says finish him.
No. Even
Super
though
Saiyan?
there is Mortal Kombat. Yes, he's going Super Saiyan.
Another guess here is Sub-Zero, Dragon Ball
Super
Z.
Super Saiyan's the guess.
Yeah, Super Saiyan.
Cool.
I'd give you a prize, but we're not prepared for that. Your prize is eternal fame.
You know, the best anime ever. I love this little character.
Yeah. Ooh, all the little particles popping off there. Just ready to jump into action.
New character lines implemented in the game. We're getting very... I say this too often, but we're getting very close to having all the characters in the game. Now when I'm seeing things like the tree kangaroos and stuff having their final animations done, and the red panda as well being animated and gone through the texturing pipeline. It's cool. There's not a lot to go in terms of characters. We're at the 95% mark in Illuvium, getting all these characters in.
Everybody out there who has a job, has to go grind 9 to 5, don't you wish your boss loved you half as much as Grant loves his team? I'm just saying, man, the amount you appreciate the people you work with is uncommon.
That is the thing I'm
proud of how we built this team. I'm not trying to sit here and say that it's me doing it all, even though I do contribute my part in terms of a small little part. It's not the same as when we built the team. You know, the grind we had to do to scour ArtStation, look for links, reach out, make sure that the people we did hire had people that they brought on. You know, like I didn't hire everyone, Kieran didn't hire everyone, and Aaron didn't hire everyone. Another large part of where our team comes from is referrals from the leads on our team and other members on the team. Like, we did a program internally, I don't know if people know this, where we would reward people for bringing on referred friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, I brought on a couple of my closest colleagues who are still here. The guy, Andy Kang, our creative director.
Yeah, he's
in
amazing.
The marketing team. Yep.
He's amazing. You know, and when you bring on the core team who loves what they do, they're going to say, well, why don't they want to work with their friends? You know, why are you working at another studio that doesn't appreciate what you're doing? You know, I spoke to Vic, our lawyer, about this just yesterday. Like, I'm with her at the moment and trying to explain the logic behind what the artists want working on a project. And I think the number one thing is just to be able to share what they're doing as they're doing it, right? Like, sure, fundamentally you want to be treated right in a workspace, but like, what does an artist want? They don't want to work on something and then not be able to show it because of IP issues. In our game, Illuvium holds exclusive rights over the IP's usage, but not over when and where we can display the artwork. So legally, anyone on our team is capable of sharing work that we show to their portfolios, their Instagram accounts, and we actively encourage that as well. Because I'm an artist. I've been through this process for so long now. That's what I want. I want to be able to work at a studio and just, who cares if it's work in progress? It doesn't make the studio look bad showing this stuff. It makes you look better, and we've proven that.
I agree. And you know what we're going to do right now? We're going to take a quick break so we can transition to all of the image leaks. Check out this video. Grant and I are going to take a sip of water, and we'll be right back. I am so excited about Illuvium Beyond. It has become so much more than that project was initially intended to be, and it's exciting. It's now a competitive collection game. Go to illuvium.io/IlluviTars, register your email. You don't want to miss out on this. You're going to have a hub, an album, a collection. You're going to be sleeving the IlluviTars that you open in discs. There's competitive, there's leaderboards, there's going to be a launch party for this coming up in just a couple weeks. I'm so excited for what IlluviTars has become, Illuvium Beyond. Be sure to register. Don't miss out on this. It's going to be an effing blast. So let's get into the image leaks, Grant. First of all, we got to do some memes, of course. 1 hour here is 7 years on Earth. This is so true. I feel this way.
it would have been... like a 3-hour showcase had, like, last week, had we not stopped.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's why we split it up into 2 episodes. This is like Lord of the Rings right now. Like, we just had to break it up into multiple movies. We're sorry. Okay, so we've got a ton of emojis. Correct me if I'm wrong. These are emojis. These are in-game.
Yes.
These are going to be displayed in-game, correct?
Yep. More things that you collect in-game.
Very cool. Are the emojis NFTs, or are these just kind of like digital goodies that are kind of unlocked in the game?
I guess they would be.
Okay.
I can't say 100% on that because it may be a part of our in-game chat system and may not be necessary, but it also very well may be. I don't have the exact answer on that for you. Sorry, but
no, it's okay.
I
was curious. I hadn't checked either. I could have sworn we had mentioned that. I've heard both answers actually at different points internally, so I need to get clarity on that myself. But I'm just going to show a lot of, and feel free to comment on these, but who are the individuals that worked on some of this art we're seeing as I scroll through all these emojis?
So we have Vincent and Kendrick doing most of these. Roger also helps out, but essentially Vincent and Kendrick have been blasting out most of the emojis. I think these are Vincent emojis. I'm sorry if that's not the case. I haven't looked at these. These ones I sent you were, I very quickly saved them off and wasn't really, because it's been 3 weeks now since I shared these with you, so.
Got it. No problem at all. We still want to share this wonderful work. All these emojis are so premium. I've created tons of emoji packages for creators and brands in the past to use on platforms like Twitch, using chibi style and what have you. The art and the composition of these emojis goes beyond anything I've ever created before. I actually feel, I feel like I can't even suggest emojis anymore without it being on this level.
We didn't need to do this, right? But we've got a concept department that is so high quality now, and they work so quickly that they would have run out of things to do for the game had we not done things like this. So it really does add, we're trying to add all these layers to the collectability process. Like I have a Doka, right? I have a water Doka, and I've got 3 stages, and I've got a weaker one and a higher quality one. I've got a hollow one. And then you've got all of that. Well, what's next, right? Like in the game, like where do I go from here? Well, then you've got the emojis to get. You've got the skins to get. You know, we're trying to add so many collectible layers to this so that long term people are still trying to complete characters fully, as in I have everything related to the Flish line, the nature of Flish line, years down the road.
Makes sense to me. It's all just a part of that addictive collection aspect of Illuvium. Collect the Illuvials, collect the IlluviTars, collect the emojis, just all of it. There's just an endless amount of progression to make, so it gives you tons of excuses to come back and enjoy the universe we're building.
And then long term, these emotes that you play, there's taunts in the game as well that are literal animation for the characters, so that when you place them on the board, you'll be able to choose which taunt your Illuvial is doing. So 2 people can place down a stage 1 air Grocko, but the taunt they're doing is different, right? Mm-hmm. One may be a much rarer taunt, right? Now, we don't have that planned for open beta even, but long term, those are the things we're thinking about to distinguish between all of the same Illuvials potentially being placed on the board.
This is my favorite emoji, by the way. This is just reminding me, and I need to talk with the marketing team about this. You know, we're going to need to release holiday-themed emoji packs in the future once we're fully launched. Valentine's packs, you know, holiday packs, summertime packs, you know, the Illuvials in board shorts, flipping burgers for the summer, all that good stuff. Like, this is so much cool culture and personality that can come through. This one makes it so obvious to me. Love this emoji. It's so good. That is not a cigarette. It is a piece of candy. That's
such a YouTuber.
We would never put anything like that in our games. This is not an intellectual property for kids. Look at that, man. Look, bringing the muscle, like not skipping any arm days at the gym.
No, he's getting more pumped than I am at the moment.
This isn't just a universe. I like this comment. This isn't just a universe. This is a multiverse. Okay. All right. Sure. Thanks for pumping us up. We'll stick with the universe first, and then we'll take it from there. Love this confused emoji. Okay, so we're getting into some good old-fashioned Illuvitar stuff. Mm-hmm. Is that hat and glasses for real? It looks like a piece of merchandise that we might sell.
I've seen Illuvium hats, prototypes in our office. Mm-hmm. Right now, like Roger that's going to be something like, how cool is it going to be once we complete the game, right? Let's just say a year from now, are we still doing showcases? If so, what are we showcasing each week? It may be merchandise. It may be promotional work that we're working on. Who knows? It may be upcoming, expansions or alternate games. But like long term, even though Illuvium will finish eventually, we're always going to have stuff to showcase, and this will just be perpetually always coming out. There'll just be another season of showcase. That's one thing I always thought, like, we haven't numbered the showcases. Can we do that retroactively?
We can if you'd like. I took the numbers out just because they were just taking up extra space, but I'm happy to add numbers so we can understand the progression of all the episodes. Happy to do that.
Season 1? I don't know.
Yeah, we can do we can do seasons. I think everything leading up to open beta is season 1. Then open beta to whatever quote unquote launch is would be maybe season 2, and then we could take it from there. I'm happy to do that.
I watch the showcases every time now. I'm getting addicted to them myself. Not because of me. I just like looking back and like seeing how we're talking about the game.
It is interesting. It is interesting. I listen to every piece of content I create, and I love going back and I miss some of the things you say during the episode because I'm focusing on producing it with you. Mm-hmm. Anyway, another piece of candy in this Illuvial's mouth. This is my third favorite leak of the episode. This Fedora game right here, this Fedora game is like a 27 out of 10. Just the feathers there, the material, the way the lighting hits the ribbon. It looks so effing good. I'm legitimately super impressed with that accessory. Very good stuff.
We are updating the UI at the moment. So another cool thing, we have a new lead game UX and UI designer, Montse, coming on board. Florian and I have briefed her on where we're up to in the game and basically said a large part of our UI looks dog shit and we want to rework it. So you should be able to look forward in the future to updated UI and UX work that features things that are important in the game, like your Illuvitars. When you verse another player in the game, you want to be able to see a high-res preview of their Illuvitar, what they've done, so that you notice the rare items and stuff. What we're seeing here is work that Jaco is working on the eyeball textures.
Yeah, you've mentioned this on multiple episodes before, where whenever the eyes of the Illuvials look sort of lifeless and simple, where we're actually headed is a more complex and more realistic eyeball, right?
He textures these, displaces geometry, and then generates texture maps from the displaced geometry, so you get actual occlusion in between the fibers that make up the eye. And I think, like, from memory, the anatomical definition is like there's sclera or something. I've probably just absolutely tanked that. But the eye is such a complex system. If you cheapen out on it and just go with like flat textures and stuff like that, you lose that realistic pop that you would expect from something like a Pixar character where they do this work. So truly going next level down even to the eye fibers.
So cool. I love that detail. Seriously. It would be cool to show in before and afters too of like simple eye versus complex eye. So people could see that. Here are two of our favorite Illuvials. Just loving this disc. Is this a disc, standard disc, or a mega disc? I can't tell at a glance.
That's a mega disc.
That's a mega disc?
Yeah,
okay.
This is promo from Sophia. Just, I mean, Dan and Sophia, just from an illustration standpoint, they're also geniuses. So they're some of the best artists in the world previously before working on Illuvium. So to see all their work, like bringing Atlas to life and in raw illustration, where he kind of looks a little bit different in game, and just taking it to, she's got her own little mini style of what Atlas looks like. It's just so cool.
So awesome. I love it. And yeah, and here you go. Here's some of that eye work.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Like when you're rendering out these Illuvials 4K, you do notice this stuff.
It just makes the stare intense. Very cool. All right, so this was something we teased. Now I don't want to leak any of our award-winning lore here, so be careful. But we have a number of morphopods that you shared with me. Do we want to say what they are, or are we just going to show them?
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
So I asked Aaron specifically about this because these very rapidly were introduced into the game, and it's another additional layer to bring the overworld experience a little bit more interconnected with Illuvium 0. So basically, you harvest the morphopods in the game. They are attached to a wind system, and they're almost like little particles in the game. And they're optional. You don't have to collect them in the overworld, but they serve a purpose in Illuvium 0 for acting like compost I won't go into because this may change, this is super early, but they act as compost for one of the buildings when you're doing certain tasks in Illuvium 0. So we've got connectivity from Illuvium 0 with the fuel you generate being able to get you into the overworld, but Aaron wants it to go both ways, right? Like if you're playing Illuvium Overworld, you can be fueling part of the process for Illuvium 0. And that's where the interoperable blockchain experience comes from, because these morphopods that you collect are NFTs and can be utilized through both games. And Aaron will continue to do that and implement features like that across our suite of games into the next 5 to 10 years, because that's what the technology has allowed to happen, which other games don't have, right? We can make things that you collect in one game serve a purpose in another. And I think that's super cool because it's optional, but it's just something in the overworld that's there to break up maybe some of the monotony. Maybe for open beta, the game is still not as fun as we would like it in the sense of you're battling Illuvials in the overworld, but there are definitely things we're trying to do that are achievable just to make the game a little bit more fun and interactive. And like the plants, now we've got morphopods, and I think it's cool the work Vincent has done concepting these out. It's just stunning.
I agree with that, and that's so cool. So interoperability is part of the reason why these are here. Obviously, there's going to be lore reasons too. So in Illuvium 0, our city builder game, you're going to be collecting resources that allow you to go into the overworld. And in the overworld, you can collect Illuvials that you can battle in our arena game. And then you can also collect these morphopods that you can take back into Illuvium 0, creating a cyclical interoperability between our games, even deeper connections between our games, making it so that you'll want to play all three of these games plus Illuvium Beyond. Because even Illuvium Beyond, you're going to be building that Illuvitar, and you're going to be growing that collection. And then, as you described a moment ago, that Illuvitar is going to be displayed prominently in our other games. And so all of these games tie in together. Everybody, imagine if you, let's say you're a Call of Duty player. Imagine if you were a Call of Duty player and the guns you collected, the skins you got, the maps you unlocked, the achievements you got in the mobile game carried over to console and carried over to PC, carried over to the next version, and there was actually some connection. There isn't now. And Illuvium's building this from the ground up to have deep connections.
When in that 2021 bull run, there was a lot of misconception about what a multiverse was, right? It was a buzzword going around, and there were people in mainstream hating on crypto because every crypto project was saying we're a multiverse and we're going to be interoperable.
You mean a metaverse?
Everything else. Sorry, my bad. Metaverse.
It's basically the same thing. Yeah, they were promising the world. They were promising the world and saying we're going to be interoperable with the sandbox. We're going to be interoperable with everything on the App Store. It was total bullshit.
Right. You know, Aaron got really cut because there was a game developer. It's a long time ago. A game developer from a mainstream or an indie studio somewhere went viral, right? Basically shitting on Web3 because so many companies, so many crypto companies were falsely advertising what a metaverse was. And Aaron was like, dude, this just sucks, right? Because like what we're doing isn't that. We're keeping it within the same ecosystem. We can't do this interoperability with other IPs and stuff like that until far, far, far later into the future. You have to contain it within your own IP and scope because these things need to be designed correctly, right? You can't just say, hey, I mean, let's collab with Call of Duty and now Illuvium has the ability to use all their helmets and stuff like that. It
we're just all going to collab. We're just all going to collab, Grant. It's so easy. We're just going to collab with each other and cooperate. Yeah, that whole narrative. By the way, this meme is great. I cannot unsee it now, by the way. Yeah. But yeah, that whole narrative was very cringy to me. It still is to me. And so the way I've described it in interviews is you need to have your own video games be interoperable with each other before you can start even thinking about your video games being interoperable with other people's games. People are skipping the step where their own games work with themselves and thinking they can somehow coordinate with other publishers and IPs. It's ridiculous in my opinion. We're going to move on to environments. Go ahead.
Cool. Think about how complex that is. You're like playing chess, but then adding layers of the board, stacking vertical, and each piece's influence affects all the other boards. You know, as you stack it, that complexity, that interconnected web gets deeper and deeper. And it's got to be very cleanly designed. So props to Aaron and Ben for being able to do that.
Indeed, I agree. Very difficult design challenge, but they're stepping up to the challenge. And, we're trying something different here, guys. We're actually doing a lot of what people have talked about. A lot of people talked about interoperability, but we're actually doing it. All right, so let's get into the environments. Now, this is a battle board you showed us, I think, with a live demo in our previous episode, Grant. You showed us kind of the working version of this in Brightland Steps.
Yeah, we can skip through this because I'm going to give you updated stuff next week.
Cool. Just for everybody who hasn't seen it, if you don't think it's just the Brightland Steps battle board. Yeah, it's just the battle board. And you actually gave us a fly-through in Abyssal Basin. But these screenshots are still jaw-dropping, in my opinion. This region looks phenomenal. I am just blown away by the detail in this region. Just look at it. That's a screenshot. Guys, that's a screenshot. God, it's good. It's
outdated
so good.
Heavily now, too.
It's outdated. It's like Grant's like, it looks like dog shit.
I wouldn't say that, but I mean, Vanya, Martian, Mark, the whole environment team is very quickly trying to get. There's a little bit of pressure in the sense that we want every beta that goes out to look good, but there's not pressure in the sense that this time we're not trying to get Abyssal and Brightland to the level Crimson was at in terms of polish, but like it's close, right? It looks incredible. So
it does. Heaps
of things, little cool add-ons coming in. I can't wait until PB2 comes out and then people start streaming again and I want to see what regions they choose to go to. Do they go to Crimson Waste when there's actually chances to get characters there that at a higher chance that you wouldn't in the other regions? It's all coming together.
It is. In some regions, obviously, will be more trafficked than others, but my guess is that's going to be based on like whatever the meta is at that time. And if there's a higher probability of getting the meta Illuvials, then you'll do that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's the way it always is with your hardcore base, at least. Oh man, just the Abyssal Basin screenshots. Just wanted to share this with you. Now, here's some tentacle textures. Are these Brightland Steps tentacle textures? Are these like options of what they could be like, or what are we looking at here?
Yeah, these are concepts, I believe, from Kendrick on what, or Alexis. I got to apologize to the team because we're 3 weeks outdated here, and I haven't gone back because I'm overseas. I haven't checked and cross-referenced this like I usually would. But these are concepts that didn't make it into the final Brightland Steps, but that I thought were cool enough to share for what the tentacle material looks like, or the vine material looks like in Brightland Steps.
Beautiful. You have to know what it doesn't look like to find out what it does look like. And we've got a series of shots of some gnarled roots. Are these Abyssal Basin plants?
Yeah, they are. And this is a good point to make when it comes to outsourcing, right? So very early on, I shared assets that were created by some of our outsourcing partners. And at the time, the work was great, right? But when you work with outsourcing, eventually you're going to stop working with them, but your own internal development is always going to keep pushing and improving. And if you stop working with an outsourcing team, but yet your own internal pipeline continues to improve, you have to go back and retexture certain things. And that's not a mistake on our part, but it does kind of bring up the point of like, when we were arguing about Star Atlas and stuff like that, completely outsourcing everything in the game, it's like if something goes wrong and you don't have the internal team structure to be able to improve it and get it up to scratch with everything else in the game, it can become a nightmare really quickly because you don't expect things to not fit. You just go, well, that was done 8 months ago. We're all good, right? And then you play it in game and you go, the performance isn't there. It's not optimized. It's got to be retextured. And the fact that we've done this 98% in-house means that if anything goes wrong with the outsourcing process, or not even wrong, just needs to be improved, we've got the capacity to do that internally, where we've got control over the final quality.
Makes sense. I mean, the value and the appeal of Illuvium is this intellectual property that we're developing ourselves. And so to outsource that process, the creation, the development, the upgrading of that intellectual property would be just a massively high risk move. So I think that's a great strategy, and it makes a ton of sense. Look, outsourcing can make a ton of sense if you already know precisely what you want to do, and you just want to scale up and make 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, and just scale up and go multiple platforms and scale the business and make more money. But in these especially in these formative stages with Illuvium, we need to keep the intellectual property close to the chest. What are these beautiful colored plant things?
So
these are very eye-catching.
Doka hair.
Doka hair. Oh, it's hair. Oh, geez. Yeah. I put it in the environment section. I thought it was a plant.
No, right. No, this is the Doka hair. So Akut has updated the emissive on the Doka line, because when we're rendering out the NFT artwork, you notice some of the in-game texturing that looks fine from the auto battler perspective doesn't work as an NFT high quality texture. And so right now, and at all times, right, there is updates happening to the characters in the game. It is an iterative process, and anything that doesn't get to the quality that everything else is at gets improved.
Understood. Just showing some more environmental assets here. I assume this one's from Halcyon Sea. And we get to see a variation of this coral.
Yep. Halcyon Sea is going to look great, but obviously we've stopped working on that for now just to get out the Abyssal Basin and Brightland Steps. But I cannot wait to get back on the high res and watch what Vanya and Emil get to.
Can you help me understand what these lines were, what this design, what we were designing here?
Preliminary sketches for the volume and space
for the Leviathan arena. So Cantemir has taken my concept for the Leviathan exterior and just gone and done a psychotic job of detailing the exterior and the hangar that will be visible in the cinematic that we're working on. But obviously the Leviathan arena was always designed to be within the ship itself, right? You've got this big ominous ship that's crash landed. You want the Leviathan arena to look massive. And what you're seeing right now is just super early feedback and sketches that are going back and forth between Kendrick and I in order to make sure that the arena looks cool. So there'll be updates to this happening as, you know, we go back and forth between Cantemir. But, you know, the Leviathan arena, the Ascendant arena, and the Survival arena are our three core arenas in the game, and the Leviathan arena is the last one for us to work on the high poly on.
Got it. Brightland Steps tentacles.
Yep, you're just seeing textures in game. We can cut through this. Pathing for the lilies in Abyssal Basin. We have a system in place that you'll notice they're all leading towards that giant tree. But the idea behind the game is that the cave system behind the waterfalls can only be traversed to with the lily pad system. So you have to like piggy hop across the lilies to get into the caves, because there's no way to do it by just running there. You know, like the distance is too far. Like even with maxed out jetpack and mag boots and stuff like that and grappling hook, you can't make it. And simultaneously, if you just sit there and chill, those lily pad systems will take you back to that death point in the main tree. Now that main tree is another area in which you can't get to it unless you're using the lily pad, and unless you jump off the lily pads at the right time, you will get nanized back and reset back to the obelisk.
Unique traversal mechanics in every region. We keep covering this. Lily pads. You're going to be able to jump from lily pad to lily pad in Abyssal Basin. Very cool. Sanctum Mesa Town Center. Working on help me understand what, obviously it's a paint over here. This is just showing some cool concepts?
Kendrick has done paint overs on the low poly work that we did for the first beta on the Survival Hub. And once again, this is outdated. Cantemir has finished implementing these feedbacks.
All right.
And we have a final Sanctum Mesa detailed hub that is currently being low polyed. And so for for open beta, we're not going to have this done for private beta. The hub in the town center in Sanctum Mesa is going to look spectacular because he's just added so much detail to it. It's ridiculous.
Love to see the work. Yeah, here you go. Here's your Leviathan Arena concept.
Yep. More concepts for the roof system.
Halcyon Sea Coral.
God, there's so many leaks, man. I was like, what?
That was it. We don't actually have rocks. I'm sorry. We don't have any rocks today. That was the end of the episode.
Cruel.
I'm sorry. That was cruel. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, everybody. There was only 1 hour and 23 minutes of leaks today. As you guys could see, we had to split this episode up into two. It was longer than Lord of the Rings. Grant, any parting thoughts or wisdom you want to share with everyone before we end this episode?
No, I think it was a great episode with a lot of cool leaks, so I'm happy. I'm glad we split it up now.
Me too. I know you wanted me to do it all at once. I'm glad we did too. Thank you for, I know that you're traveling internationally, you're tired. Thank you for calling in and giving everybody all the context on all these leaks. I really appreciate it, man. And best of luck to you in your travels, Amico.
Cool. Well, just once again, make sure you're subscribing to our channel, because I don't think a lot of people do. They just expect to get an update in the Discord. But it does help Illuvium's visibility. So
look at that. Grant is people call me such a YouTuber. He's such a YouTuber.
Yeah,
Be sure to subscribe and smash that like button. Let's go. All right. right, we're going to end the episode there. I'll talk to you guys later. See you in the next episode of Illuvium Showcase. We'll be back next week. I'm also going to have a deep dive with Roger and Aaron on Illuvium Beyond in next week's episode. Awesome. We're going to show you in-depth designs, and hopefully we'll have the collection and sleeving Illuvitar and a lot of demoing the actual hub features, Grant, to show everybody in that one. So I'm doing Showcase with you and Illuvitalks, doing that deep dive, and it's just going to be so cool to roll out that product. Talk to you later, Grant. See you next week, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Adios. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode. Enjoy this original soundtrack music.